You know, it's funny. Have you ever stopped to think about the words we use every single day? Turns out, some of the most common, basic words are packed with a surprising amount of meaning. And that right there is the secret behind a really powerful system for learning and communicating. All right, let's get into it.
So let me just ask you something. To get your ideas across, to have a real conversation, to explain something, how many words do you really need? 1,000? 10,000? I mean, what if I told you the number is way, way smaller than you're probably thinking? 850. That's it. That is the number that comes from a system designed for super clear international communication. I know, it sounds almost impossible, right? How in the world can you express everything you need to with such a small toolbox?
Well, this idea is the foundation of something called Basic English. It was actually created way back in the 1930s by a linguist named Charles K. Ogden. Now, his goal wasn't to limit what you can say, not at all. It was to create a simple but really powerful tool for people all over the world to communicate. And to see how he did it, we're going to put just one of those 850 words under the microscope. So, our word for today is married. It's a word we all know, a word we all use, and yeah, it seems simple enough. But believe me, it is the perfect example of how these core words do some seriously heavy lifting in the English language. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Straight from our source, Wiktionary, we can confirm it. Married is officially on that core list of 850 words. So this really grounds our whole exploration. This one single word is basically a load-bearing pillar of the language.
Okay, let's start breaking this thing down. First, we're going to look at married as a description, as an adjective. But even here, in its simplest form, it's already doing double duty.
This is the definition we all think of first, right? It describes a state of being, a relationship between two people. When someone is married, it's describing their legal and social status. It's pretty straightforward. It's concrete. It's all about people. But that's only half the story.
Now, this is where it gets really cool, because you can see the word's flexibility. On the one hand, you got that human connection we just talked about. But then on the other hand, you see something totally different. Here, it's about combining two separate concepts, music and television, into one single unified thing. The word is exactly the same, but the meaning has just jumped from people to completely abstract ideas. Okay, so married is a super versatile description, but that is not all it is. It also works as an action. And this is where the genius of Basic English really starts to shine through. So, here's the crucial point. The exact same word, married, that describes the state of a relationship is also the word we use to describe the action that created that state. It's a description and an action, all rolled into one. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. When you look at all the forms of the verb to marry, you see our word, married, show up not just once, but twice. It's the past tense, like in they married yesterday, but it's also the past participle, which you use in more complex tenses, like they have married. I mean, that is linguistic efficiency at its absolute best. One word doing multiple grammatical jobs. So now that we've seen how married works as both a description and an action, let's zoom out a bit. Because this one root word, it doesn't just exist on its own. It's actually the head of a whole family of ideas. Our source lists this whole family of related words. You've got the action, to marry, the institution of marriage, and even the event itself, the wedding. They all circle around the same central theme, but as we're about to see, they tell a complete story. You can almost think of it like a little story. First, you've got the action, to marry. That action leads to the state that comes after, being married. And that state exists within this bigger social idea, the institution of marriage. And the whole shebang usually gets kicked off with a specific event, the wedding. You see how they all just link together? One simple root gives you access to this entire narrative. So what does this deep dive into one simple word really tell us? Let's bring it all back to that initial idea, Basic English and its 850 core words. Here's the big takeaway. A small vocabulary does not mean small ideas. By choosing words like married, words that can be an adjective for people and for ideas, that can serve as a verb, and that anchor a whole family of concepts, Basic English gives you an incredibly powerful and versatile toolkit for communication. It's all about depth, not just breadth. So the next time you use a simple word, just pause for a second. Think about all the different jobs it might be doing. Because once you start looking, you'll find that the most basic parts of our language are often the most profound. So what word will you look at differently now?